Gloria in excelsis Dei. Welcome to Browsell High. The Catholic Church, throughout its long history, has inspired many, many great works of art. This ain't one of them. The cult British director and reality television star Ken Russell, no really, Celebrity Big Brother, garnered a reputation for being, unique in his visions. His outlandish use of cinematic language and iconography, and, the sex and stuff, made him a target for criticism throughout his long career, which ended with his death last year. He was weird. How weird? Like, Tommy weird. Before he put out work that pioneered the aesthetic of music videos like Tommy, Mahler, and Listomania, he created one of the most controversial works of his career, 1971's The Devils, which was based on John Whiting's play The Devils, which in turn was an adaptation of Aldous Huxley's novel The Devils of Loudun, which in turn was adapted from the historical incidents surrounding the trial of Urbain Grandier, a Catholic priest executed for crimes of witchcraft in 17th century France. So a film made from a play, made from a book, made from an historical account. And it all starts with a disclaimer that the events you're about to see are historically accurate. Yep, this is so accurate. Oh my god, it's like stepping back in a time machine. Oh my god, the accuracy. I'm just blown away by the accuracy. Holy... Yes, you know how 300 was adapted from a comic, adapted from a movie, adapted from the works of Herodotus? And how its relation to history was estranged at best? Well, for all intents and purposes, King Louis XIII here is our Xerxes. Our Leonidas is Urbain Grandier, played by Oliver Reed. He's a Catholic priest and de facto leader of the walled white city of Loudun, which tangentially would make an awesome level in Portal. Yes, for a movie about religious success and political assassination, the production design by Derek Jarman is surprisingly sterile. Derek Jarman, if you'll recall, is the guy who directed these movies. It shows, doesn't it? Now, the real Urbain Grandier was, by all accounts, handsome, intelligent, a brilliant orator, and a little less than chaste, but depicted here, he is a living, breathing estrogen ignition system.
Grandier could have me anywhere, even on the holy altar itself.
Okay, but Oliver Reed? With the jowls and the pot belly and the gigantic Stalin stash and the scar that he got in a drunken bar fight? The proto-sheen whose body pumped more gin than it did blood? I know I'm not the best judge, being a straight man and all, but I just don't see the sexual appeal of round-faced, dark-haired, snobby guys with prominent facial hair.
Now there's a man well worth going to hell for, eh?
I should test this. Pardon me, Miss Pregler?
Yes?
You're female, right? Okay, you know Oliver Reed, right?
Wait, the guy from Gladiator, right? The old slave driver? Yeah, I guess he was okay in that.
Huh. You could easily read connotations into having the bad guy be so fey and camp and the good guy being such a masculine ladies' man, but I don't. Merely because King Louis isn't necessarily the villain.
We once promised dear old Saint Marthe, the late lamented governor, that we would never touch one teeny-weeny stone of his precious city. You would surely not expect us to go back on our word.
Despite acting so much like one.
Another Protestant bird for your bag, Richelieu?
Please tell me that Mel Brooks has seen this movie.
Pull! Drifting to the left.
The Dick Cheney-esque Cardinal Richelieu seems most eager to get Loudun to capitulate. Plus, there's that one scene that would later inspire the movie about that guy who ate the people. Yeah. But most of Grandier's direct opposition comes in the form of Mickey Dolenz and his cronies. Don't ask me about the hamster wheels. Now, the story of the Devils is one of political intrigue and the downfall of a good man. Supposedly goodish man. Grandier's downfall is caused by three women. First, there's Philippa, a naked Cockney mime. Go with it. whose father sends her to Grandier to learn some words in Latin, like coitus.
I'm pregnant.
You must learn to bear your cross with Christian fortitude, my child.
And this earns him an enemy in her father, whom he fights off with a dead crocodile and laughs at him. Okay, that requires context. I don't feel like giving any. The second is Madeline, who, like every other character with ovaries in this film, gets the giggles over him.
Destroy me, I love you, him. I love him.
I love that look.
I love you, him.
Oh god, not another one. And after a bit of canoodling, they marry in secret. And the third one... oh boy.
Satan is ever ready to seduce us with sensual delights.
Sister Jeanne, who is, the Mother Superior, Sister Jeanne, is... what's a classier word for batshit? Vanessa Redgrave, years before debasing herself by working for Roland Emmerich, plays Jeanne as intelligent and sly, and does a fine job conveying the mental torture that Jeanne goes through, but the stuff the script has her do... well, the real Sister Jeanne d'Agnes reported having nightly visions of Grandier in a form that enticed her to sexual acts, and caused her to wail loudly throughout the night, which in the movie is portrayed as... okay, makes sense. What's black and white and shuddering all over? And that's not the least of it. It's goofy enough that she starts writing letters to him with the air of a 12-year-old writing to Robert Pattinson, but then there's that extremely infamous scene where she imagines Grandier to actually be Jesus Christ, coming down off of the cross, and letting her kiss his wounds. I don't know how to love him. You know, when Mel Gibson fetishized Christ's death, at least he wasn't openly pervy about it. Still, Oliver Reed. I need to keep experimenting with this. Hey, person who subjected me to the lesbian car movie.
What?
You know Oliver Reed?
Maybe? Refresh my memory. Oh, right! Yeah, him! Sorry, gosh, I haven't seen that movie in years. You know, that character was a total bastard.
My god, he's like human Axe body spray! And it all comes crashing down when Mother Superior jumps the gun.
He speaks to me of love. Lewd, wanton. He plies me with caresses.
And what form does this incubus take?
Nuns must be so much fun to be around. I never went to Catholic school.
Grandier.
And that revelation brings about Grandier's downfall. Well, that and his railing against Cardinal Richelieu in public. Oh, and he gets married despite being a high-ranking member of the clergy. And that thing where he knocked up the daughter of the king's solicitor, fought the man with the dead crocodile, and went away laughing. And told the daughter to piss off while twirling his goddamn mustache. He's a complicated man. Anyway, Mickey Dolenz sends for an exorcist, Father Barre, who for some reason is played by everyone's weed dealer. And it starts off a series of humiliations that Sister Jeanne is subjected to, which ostensibly is the thrust of the movie's argument, that superstition and paranoia are terrible forces of destruction. Like in this exorcism scene. This enema-centric exorcism scene. I won't show it because it's genuinely pretty gruesome. In Aldous Huxley's novel, he described this scene as nothing less than a rape in a public lavatory, and it's conveyed that way. Well, except for the soundtrack. Catchy tune.
Who is responsible for this evil possession, Sister Jeanne of the Angels? Grandier!
And to pile up the dirt they have on Grandier, the Inquisitor's master plan is... write this down. Collect all the nuns in the abbey, take them all out into the woods, threaten to kill them, then convince them that they are full of sin, and tell them they can get rid of that sin by sinning a shitload more. Blame Grandier for what happens next, and profit. And this leads into the sole reason the film was made. Oh, how do you solve a problem like hysteria? This film, as you can imagine, received more cuts than Julius frickin' Caesar. Both the British Board of Film Classification and Warner Brothers demanded cuts to the film for its massive amounts of sexual, sacrilegious, violent transgressions, so many that to this day there appears to be no complete uncut version available for home viewing. Warner Brothers has released heavily censored versions in the US and the UK, and it wasn't until 2004 that film critic Mark Kermode found the banned scenes that the film could be aired in its fullest possible state. As for home viewing, The Devils has about as many different and conflicting versions as Blade Runner. Most of the time you'll either find the UK or US censored versions. The WB has on more than one occasion promised to make the full version available and then balked at the last second. It's a clusterfuck. Speaking of clusterfucks, even the version that I have isn't entirely complete. However, my version does have one of the most infamous scenes in the film. So infamous, it has its own nickname. The Rape of Christ. The scene consists of nuns tearing a giant crucifix off the wall and molesting it. I won't bother to repeat that. I'll try to show it censored, but I truly wish you could see it for yourselves. It is sacrilarious. Yeah, this is the film's infamous centerpiece. Where all the effort went. I mean, good lord, these nuns are stacked. Not a non-photogenic one among them. Especially weird considering Sister Jeanne specifically points out that many nuns went to the convent because they weren't beautiful.
Or they were unmarriageable because ugly, a burden to the family.
But I mean, look at this! You don't throw this much effort into this much insanity without really, really meaning it. And what did Ken Russell mean? I don't know. Something about power corrupting, pity the poor souls warped by the powers that be. But honestly, it's pretty hard to feel bad for the nuns. Because they're clearly enjoying this. Look at how they're introduced again.
Yes, I can see the procession! It's coming up the steps!
They're playful, lustful, and not particularly religious, it seems. Like when they find out that Grandier got married and they all do a little role play.
And do you, Madeleine de Brou, take me, Urbain Grandier, for your unlawfully wedded husband?
Yeah, go on ahead, sister. It's not that there were any high-profile cases where women were burned alive for dressing like a man. But most telling is the scene where King Hedonism Bot shows up at the convent, while Barre is hilariously failing to keep things under control.
I'm gonna speak a name to you! Grandier!
Nun pile! And the king brings out a box containing the blood of Christ and uses it to cure Sister Jeanne. And then he opens the box up, revealing that it's empty.
What sort of a trick have you played on us?
Oh, Reverend Sir, what sort of a trick are you playing on us?
Then the king camps off, and the nuns keep going. They don't stop. Their king and sovereign shows up at their doorstep, calls the exorcist an asshole, calls the possessions a sham, and they keep going. That scene I couldn't show you before happens immediately after the king leaves. I think they must genuinely enjoy this. They don't stop after the king leaves, they don't stop after Grandier comes back from his honeymoon. They haven't even stopped after Grandier is jailed and the Inquisitors are getting everyone to sign confessions that Grandier possessed them. Everything about their portrayal makes me think that, if anything, this whole Grandier thing got them to open up and have a bit more fun. And that's certainly a better explanation than the movie gives for this, what's a good word?
Nun fuckery?
Thank you. Oh, by the way.
Ah!
This is not getting old. This film came out in 1971, and as you might guess, it's largely responsible for the wave of so-called nunsploitation films that came out during the ensuing decade. I think that other guy talked about some of them, and it's rather sad that this movie's primary legacy is fueling that subgenre, because I genuinely think this could have been a great drama. It's not like the source material wasn't rich with intrigue. Under a different director, Huxley's play might have been like a saucier episode of The Borgias, and the two main leads own their roles. Redgrave's Jean has flashes of nuance, and Reed especially makes Grandier into a wonderful anti-hero. He's flawed, a sinner in the position of a saint, and he knows it. There's even a throwaway line which makes me think that he wanted to be caught by the Inquisition.
I need to turn them against myself.
And bring about your own end?
I have a great need to be united with God.
And when he's finally brought to the stake, he breaks down on a perfect image of penitence. So much that... Wait, hold on a minute.
See how your mother's honor was avenged!
Wait, his bastard kid was born? So this movie took place over the course of 9 months then. Then how long did the nun orgy last? Did they take breaks? Not that the orgy historically happened, necessarily. Grandier's trial lasted several months before his execution, so the baby could have been born, but it's probably not likely that the Inquisitors rigged the walls to blow up at the precise moment of Grandier's death. And it ends in a typically Russell-esque fashion.
I almost forgot. Souvenir.
Somewhere out there, there's a cut of this movie where she uses that bit of femur to masturbate.
And now, the most obvious joke I could possibly make.
She got to bone him after all. This movie is hilarious. Not that it should be. It could have been a ripping character drama and a taut fable about superstition and its abuse by the powers that be, but the campiness overpowers any attempt at satire, not to mention the exploitative scenes of, you know. And it's not exactly comfortable watching a film where every female character is portrayed as nothing but a ball of hormones. And I do mean every female character. Oliver Reed, man. Okay, one more time.
And that's why I'm generally in favor of puppies. Any questions?
Hey, Diamanda Hagen, you're a woman, right?
Why does everyone keep asking me that?
Of course I am!
Right. Anyway, how do you feel about, penises?
Oh, I have a bonfire of those every Thursday. Fucking eel-like sons of bitches with their slimy little fucking length, and they're like... Disgusting! How the fuck do you stand having one of those attached to your...
Miss Swift, are you okay?
Oliver Reed!
I must only use this power for good.
And nothing's ever gonna change that fact. I'm part of one terrific sister act.